Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. It's so great to
Awesome.
talk to you about this.
Thank you very much for watching the movie.
Oh my gosh, I have to start off by saying I love this film. Just from the start of it, it was so gripping, and I'm always in love with a good action thriller. So, congratulations on this.
Oh, that means everything to me. Trust me, it does.
I want to start off. Obviously, the action genre is such a beloved and it has so many past hits in it. What was it about Off the Grid that really stood out to you and felt like it could make a mark in such a loved genre?
Well, to me, I've never directed an action movie. I've always directed thrillers, and I didn't want to do action because of the world that we live in now, with limited amount of days we get to shoot in 18, 19 days. That I didn't think I could do it right, and I come from the action world where it had to be right. So I called my writer and I said, I got an idea for an action script that I wanted. Never the lead to never have a gun. I don't want him to have to kill 150 people. I don't want him to be trained in any way. I want it to be emotional. I want them to have the audience invested in who they are emotionally, to where they could follow their lives and make them feel like they're in their world, and then let the action come to life there, and let the actor bring the action in the movie. Where if there's someone chasing them, we see his emotion before we even see they're chasing them, and allow him to introduce us to all the moments.
Definitely. And it was very action-packed. I love that you say you never wanted the character to have a gun or kill 100 people who are basically nameless. So what were the stunts like for you when trying to create those and making it more personalized to the character?
Well, personalized was easy because Josh, when I thought about the script, I was a big fan of Josh DeMille, and I said I read everything I could about him because I wanted to write a script for him. So I did off the grid because he lives off the grid in his hometown, and I said I'll write a script so he could relate more to this character. And then I said, hey, let's write all these booby traps and these contraptions that he made with his mind, where it's interesting, where we could all invest in this together. Where Josh and I are creating all these things together. I'm going to Home Depot trying to build all these things and grab all these parts and testing them at home because I want them to truly work and make sure they worked if we built them. And so it was one of those things where it was so important, like in Greg, that I could find a role because Greg Kinnear is a genius of an actor and he's so loved that I thought, well, what if I could make him a villain and still keep the lovability about the character, where you know that he doesn't want to be a villain and he's kind of annoyed by it, and it kind of makes it so entertaining that you kind of like him and you feel sorry for him at the end. If I could do that, then and Maria, if I could make Maria just a ball of life and come to life to where you just want to talk to her, and Michael, you just want to hug him, where it's all about emotions to bring the best action. Because if you can invest in an actor and feel bad for the situation they're in, the action doesn't have to be as big. It could be more personal.
Definitely. I love that you say you were a fan of Josh before this. Did you write the script for him? I know you spoke about that briefly. How did the other actors come into this? Because it's such a wide range of characters, and the actors obviously do such a great job. So, what was it like piecing all of these people together? And what were you surprised that they brought to the project?
Well, this movie was different than any other movie. I wanted to cast this movie on my own. I didn't want to bring a casting director. So right when I got greenlit, I went ahead and went worldwide. I went to Italy, I went to Spain, I went to US, and I just started watching every movie I could. I probably watched 400 movies, and I just found movies that people that I could relate to, and I would find them on Instagram and Facebook, and they'd reach out to me. And like Maria, I found in Spain, and Ricky, I found in Miami, and I talked to them, and they're like, "So what do you want me to read?" I said, "I don't want you to read. I just want to talk to you for an hour and a half." And I wanted to see who they were as a human being. I could find their characteristics in them that I felt could work for the movie. And with Maria, it was just like, be Maria in this movie, be Josie in my movie, just be who you are. You will do exactly what I want. Mikey, he was the only one that got casted that played Chase, and I only read, I had 300 people and I only took his reading and no one else read for the movie. I just knew when I saw him that he brought the heart and soul. And Ricky, I said, take these 3 pages, read these for me, but don't have any dialogue. He goes, but I got 3 pages of dialogue. I go, do it with look only. I go, if you could do it with look only and make your head feel like it's 20 pounds heavier. It, and I go, if you could do that, and he did it. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, this is awesome. So I handpicked every one of these guys for a personal reason, that no scene felt like you could go get popcorn or go to the bathroom, that you were invested in everyone, what they were going to say, and how to bring the story to every single scene that you needed the information from every scene to drive it. And that's kind of what I did.
I love the passion that you talk about this film with, from the casting process to the action. So I'm wondering for you, as a director, were there any scenes that didn't make the final cut that you would love to include in like a director's cut of this? And how do you go about choosing what gets to stay in such a passion project like this and what maybe doesn't make it in the final cut?
Well, it's not extra scenes because I've learned through my time with the t time they're giving us, I'm never going to try to leave something on the floor because why would I spend 6 hours of my day shooting something that I'm going to throw on the floor when I need to put more 6 hours in the scenes I care about? So I always make sure that before I shoot, I have 90 minutes of film in my head that's going to be on the screen, and I don't shoot anything more. But what I do is I believe in true improv. I believe that every actor should come to life. So I kind of trick the actors a little bit. Every day I come to work and I say, I think something's wrong with the scene where I think it's right, but I want to be proven wrong and I want them to find things that maybe they don't even think is wrong. And we start collaborating for a half hour every single day and we change the whole script every morning or every night that we shoot. And really, we didn't shoot the script page by page ever. And it was a change every day because we realized that we could add something to help us drive something else. Greg was a genius at that, and Josh was too. So it's the moments of letting camera roll, like with Peter. I had him for one day and I said, Peter, I'm not going to stop rolling camera. You and Greg just make improv your whole scene together and just keep going and I'll find pieces. I said, I just want you guys to get into it heavy. And so we had 12-minute takes that I wish I could have kept these scenes, but I had to cut it down to where, you kept everyone's interest, but there were amazing moments in those scenes.
Yeah. And I love the concept of it being off grid, as we talked about before. Josh in his real life is very off grid, but I love that you incorporated it to make it so interesting. With it being off the grid, though, location comes into play. So I'm wondering, what were some of the challenges you guys faced and how did you overcome those? Because there's so much that goes into just location and filming on a location.
Well, that's a good question because the forestry to me is number 5 on the call sheet. It's one of the important stars of the movie. How do you bring a location in without overplaying it, without
Mhm.
it taking away the dialogue from the character and not want people to see it too much? It can't be too dense, but it can't be too open. It has to have ray of light. You have to be able to turn the camera and move every time the sun moves. So you got to have the same similarity, but you got to have mountains because you got to need depth. So all these things come through. So you got to pick a square area. So I found the square area in Mississippi, which was genius. They're like, Johnny, you can't shoot here. I go, why? They're like, you want to walk in there and find out why? And when I walked in there, there was 100 snakes. There were chiggers everywhere. There were ticks everywhere. And I talked to my actors. I said, this is what story. I'm loading up with bug spray. I'll have snake wranglers and everything else, but we got to shoot in this forest because I really believe this is my movie. And they're like, we're in. So we're in. So sure enough, day 2, I get attacked by chiggers in my stomach and my whole body swells up and I'm getting shots. Doctors come to the set every day giving me shots. Snakes are traveling everywhere around the set and people are jumping, screaming in the background. The crew is during the middle of a take. So the obstacles of shooting through bug infested, like Greg says in the movie 4 times, because we had to put that in the movie, these bug infested land, that's why that's in the movie because we were really living that.
You know what? Props to you guys for sticking through it. It turned out so beautifully, but I can only imagine the chaos that went on during filming.
Yes, it was chaos.
But my last question for you, I love the way that score can help viewers kind of take on a film. So with that in mind, what song would you use to describe Off the Grid as a whole?
Well, and the reason why I say this, it's not that it could be the perfect song, but there's a song called Stranglehold by Ted Nugent. And the reason why that song has the ramp I need, it starts off with energy and it builds that energy more and it forces it down your throat and it just yells at you and screams at you and it makes you pay attention. And I would say that that would be it.
Okay, I love the description. It really sells it. But congratulations on everything again and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much. And thank you for enjoying my movie. It really means a lot.